If you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about eventually buying a place in a foreign country, you might have a lot of different ideas about what you are looking for. Today, what we're going to talk about are different things that I can personally suggest being near or being in your vicinity when you're looking for a home in Mexico, specifically Merida, Mexico, which is where my wife and I purchased a home about 2.5 years ago. We absolutely love our neighborhood, but completely lucked out in the sense that we are around a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, we're going to get into the video. We're going to talk about just a couple of things that I would personally suggest if you're looking for a place in Mexico, be around these things. Let's roll the intro. Now, for those of you who don't know or are not subscribers to the channel, my name is Alexander Howell, and we make content about real estate, international real estate, travel, mainly to Mexico, especially the state of Yucatan, and of course, the wonderful city of Merida, Mexico. Now, like I said, my wife and I purchased a property about 2.5 years ago in Merida. It was an interesting place to say the least. It was very, very dilapidated, but over the last 2.5 years, we have renovated it. I should say our architect has renovated it, but we purchased, went through all of that, did the plans, did everything, survived COVID, and now we have a wonderful, wonderful place in Merida, Mexico. But as far as the neighborhood is concerned, we very much lucked out. You see, there are things that I didn't realize that were going to become very important that we didn't know about. We pretty much said, we want to live here. We'd been thinking about buying a property in Mexico for a long, long time. We have initially thought about Isla Mujeres. Then we actually traveled to Merida for a reason which, if you want to see those reasons, just subscribe to this channel. Check out all of the videos that I've made about it. But we ended up loving Merida, Mexico so much that we bought a house there pretty much immediately. And because we moved into the wonderful neighborhood of Chenbec, it's a little bit away from things, but we have a lot of things surrounding us. So rather than listening to me talk forever, let's just get into it. So the first thing, and I know this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but you're gonna wanna be next to a tortilleria. And I really hope I pronounced that properly, and I'm sure I didn't. But basically, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a place where you can go get a bunch of tortillas. Now, we have 2 or 3 within our vicinity, but there is one by a place that we're going to talk about in just a second that just throws them out like crazy. And it is amazing. You can buy a ton of tortillas, like 50, 100, whatever it might be, for a very, very small amount of money, and you will use them constantly. Keep in mind, you're in Mexico. You're going to be making all kinds of things. For me, it's always tacos, but that's what you're going to be making, and there's a place where you can get them fresh right down the street. So it is wonderful to be next to one of those because it pretty much helps you make every meal you've got. And speaking of every meal you've got, the next thing, and this is honestly kind of the first thing that you might want to think about, is we lucked out and we are about 2 blocks from the Chenbec market, which was renovated just a couple of years ago. And it is one of the most convenient spots that we have in our area. We're talking about not just flowers and little magazines and stuff like that. We're talking about fruits, veggies, meat, everything you might possibly need to make a meal. We can find it at the Chenbec market, and it is priced incredibly low compared to some of the other areas in the city. Now, I will warn you that you need to make sure that you're in the right place. You don't want to see flies flying around everywhere, but at the same time, you're going to find fresh fruits, fresh veggies, all kinds of different things to make a wonderful combination of food. I can personally tell you that I went down, I got some habaneros and some jalapenos, I got some fresh mango, and we got some chicken, and I threw it together, made some habanero mango chicken, and it was to die for. It was hot, but it was really good. And I got every single one of the ingredients, outside of the chicken, which I got from the carne place across the street. Every single one of the ingredients I got from right there at the Chenbec market. Onions, all of that stuff. Absolutely wonderful, fantastically fresh. Make sure that you are next to a good market. Now, the next one has to do with your actual piece of real estate. And this is very important for Merida. I don't know if it's going to be important for everywhere in Mexico, but in Merida, it's something that is talked about constantly. Now, for the most part, the wet season is in and around September, a couple of months before, a couple of months after. You're going to get some rainstorms. And one of the things that you will notice is that in Yucatan, as well as several other states in Mexico, the water table is a little high. And the reason for that is in the actual city, you're only about 6 feet above sea level. So that water table is already pretty high. And then when you add rain on top of it, you will see flooding. They can't pump everything out of there. And on top of that, their infrastructure can be a little here and there, if you know what I mean. And in fact, our home actually was flat to the street. So there was the street, the sidewalk, and then the house, and they were basically within about a half inch of each other. So when they redid the sidewalk, they couldn't really redo the sidewalk up because it would have messed with our neighbor's house, but they ended up pushing it up just a hair, and then the actual step into our house was created, which is about 6 to 8 inches up. So you step into our house, which alleviates any issue that we might have with flooding. But there are some areas that have even more issues with flooding within the city of Merida and within the footprint of Yucatan and other places in Mexico. So when you're thinking about a house, make sure that you travel there in the rainy season, make sure that you're there in the dry season, make sure you're there all times of the year before you actually purchase. Don't do like I did and just randomly purchase a place. Understand where you are and make sure that if that is an area that gets a little wet, bump that baby up a little bit. You'll be happy that you did. Another thing to consider, and I know that this might sound a little crazy for somebody who just said that they liked cooking and stuff like that, but honestly, make sure you're around some restaurants and cantinas. There are some crazy good places within a 1-minute walk of our house. We've got Aladio's, Wayane, Tizzy Tab is literally right down the street, El Pueblo, and El Templo is only about a 10 to 12-minute walk, depending on if you have kids or not, down towards the Parque de la Merida, and it is a wonderful place. That actually ended up being kind of our neighborhood bar while we were down there, but the positive was we could go to any one of those places and know that we were going to get good food, good drinks, and we didn't have to worry about staying in to cook our own food. And again, I know that sounds very ridiculous, but it is nice to know that you're around a few different places as opposed to having to get an Uber, take the Uber, get there, eat, come back. It's very nice to just be able to take a nice calm walk in the middle of the day or at night and know that you're around some really, really good places. Next is friends. I am very lucky that this YouTube channel has attracted so many wonderful people, viewers, subscribers, people who have emailed me, texted me, all kinds of different things, and they have questions about Merida, and I end up finding out that not only do they have questions, they've actually looked in the Chenbec neighborhood, and a few of you ended up buying there. And while I feel very lucky that I was able to have that situation, you might want to consider if you have friends that are already down there, if you have people that you've met online when you're talking about maybe potentially moving down there, find some people that are in the same vicinity that share your likes, your interests, your hobbies, whatever it might be. Make sure that you find those people, and if you have the potential to move close to them, you don't have to be next door neighbors. Like, let's be honest about that. You don't have to be next door neighbors. But if you have the ability to get close to them, it seems like a pretty wonderful thing. And if you end up getting a little bit further away, again, Uber's fairly cheap. Now, the next is pretty much the most obvious, and I addressed it in the initial conversation that we had in this video. Location. And I don't mean location in the sense that you have to buy in Santa Ana or Santiago. There's all kinds of wonderful locations in Merida and in the different areas around your favorite city in Mexico, just like there are areas around here in Kansas City, Missouri. But one thing to think about when you're going through that process is, what is the amount that I can purchase a property for, and what is it exactly that I want to have in the end? Now, if a place is completely renovated in the right location and you're willing to spend a little bit of money, fantastic. Buy in some of the great areas. That way, even if you want to rent it, you can do that and you can say you're in the best location. But for us, we knew we were going to have to purchase a little bit outside of where everybody else was because we wanted to make an absolutely amazing place. And again, I've got videos on this channel. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that kind of stuff. But I have a lot of videos that show what we've been able to do to this property. We would not have been able to do everything that we have talked about, done, and dreamed of if we had purchased a lot of the same size closer to Plaza Grande, Parque de Santa Lucia, or anywhere around Paseo de Mateo. We are a little bit off, but what that allowed us to do was some amazing, amazing things. So when you're looking at a place to purchase, make sure that you recognize that if you want to be in the thick of things, maybe you won't be able to get everything you want out of the property. But if you're willing to push a little bit further away, you can do a lot of stuff. Again, check out the videos. I'm pretty proud. So pretty much it's know what you want. And if you have any questions about that, by the way, feel free to text me. I have a text line for people for this channel. It is 816-727-7740. You can also email me. You can either go to alexanderhowell.com and just hit contact us. That sends me a direct email, or email me at alexander@alexanderhowell.com. Again, direct email to me. Don't worry about it. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to send you answers. And if you want to follow me on social media where you can actually see some of the pictures of these places, that's at Alexander from KC, as in Kansas City. So at Alexander from KC. That's me. Instagram is kind of a man jam, but I have Twitter, Twitch if you want to watch me play video games, which, you know, most of the people from this channel probably don't. But if you do, I'm there. And we also have a wonderful Facebook group at facebook.com/group/travel2Merida. So travel to Merida on Facebook. You'll find that group. We've got 212 members as of this morning. So you can ask them any questions you have. And we have some wonderful people that are willing to answer any questions that you might have, including me. I'm there too. And last but certainly not least, I have one resource for you that I do want to tell you about. It's YucatanSun.com. It is a travel, news, and blog site. I also have recommendations on some of the top people that I have personally worked with. I'm working on getting restaurants and stuff like that in there as well. But I have the architect, the notary, the real estate agent, like all kinds of different things. YucatanSun.com. You can go there, and if you want to schedule a trip to Mexico or Merida, you've got it there. It's kind of tuned into Yucatan Peninsula, obviously. Or if you just want to catch up on the latest news, hit the tab news or go to yucatan.com/news, and it's right there. Updated constantly via the RSS feed. We have all of those resources here, including a bunch of other things. I also can tell you that Facebook group, which is down below, I just created an ebook for temporary residency and permanent residency. That is, I've got the code and everything on that Facebook group. So if you want to join that, you get it for free. If not, it's going to be part of the membership site that I'm creating right now, but is not quite done. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. From the tortilleria to the market to your friends to cantinas and all that kind of stuff. I absolutely believe in that, and we have been so fortunate that we settled where we did. But settle where you want, enjoy where you want, and travel for the rest of your life, because you will never regret the dollars spent there. So as always, peace.